Tapping in.
Are we live?
Yo, the Kids official sliding on the instrumental. Nordic combos, twist your mental like forbidden jitsus. My click's initial.
Yes, sir. Brother Miles, I was asked by one of our longtime listeners, do we have to still do the land acknowledgement? Is Chicago still on stolen land? Was how that question was posed to me.
Is Chicago still on stolen land? Yes, Chicago will forever be on stolen land until people associate Chicago with Jean-Baptiste Pont du Sable, who was the man of Haitian and I believe Haitian descent, and his wife was of Native American descent, who founded the city. You know what I'm saying? Until the name is synonymous with that history, until that name is synonymous with the Potawatomi people and the people that cared for this, then yes, forever, we will remember to say that this podcast is filmed on stolen land. That being said, bro, like we listen to the audience. If we could shorten it, maybe, you know what I'm saying? But I think it is important to always say that and to always remember that, bro. Like, yeah, man, I think a lot of what we're trying to do on this show is acknowledge history, is to have difficult conversations. And I think a lot of times we're advocating for Black folk. So in doing that, I think we need to be consistent and hold it down for love between and within communities of color all over the world. Yeah,
that's a fact. I was at the Exeter Museum today. Took myself out on a little date, self-care, self-love, etc. And I really do enjoy going into museums and that type of thing and seeing it. But one of the cool things about being in those spaces is the preservation of history and the preservation of the people that were in that space and what they cared about and what they thought about. And through that, there's a strong anchoring of identity that comes from that, right? So for us, doing these land acknowledgements is almost it's us extending our identity and our history and preserving that information of the people that, acknowledging the people that we're doing this land off of, and see what that means in terms of what that means in terms of who we are. Because that's what we care about at the end of the day. We really keep people that care about that type of stuff.
Big facts. And if you can't tell by the flag in the background, I'm a very Chicago-centric person. And I think part of the reason the land acknowledgement is important is because in the formation of the show, there's a lot of intentionality as well in representing both the dynamic of Chicago, of the States and South Africa on your side. You know what I mean? So I think if we're going to lean into that in terms of identity, in terms of content, in terms of perspective, it's also important to acknowledge the history and even our privilege within being in this space.
Yeah. Speaking of identity in the United Kingdom and that type of experience, Brother Miles, unfortunately, I had to run into a racist experience. The first type I've had since I've been here.
Boy, and this marks the start of our new segment, Racism in the Wild. Zoe.
Well, Brother Miles, I was definitely in the wild when this racism happened to me.
Having just encountered racism in the wild, please, what's racism up to these days?
In all honesty, I felt as though I was long overdue a racist experience is kind of what it felt like, right? I felt like I'd been riding too easy, just traveling and having all these fantastic traveling experiences, not having it blatantly in my face. However, I was long overdue a code check for sure. I will give that to the universe.
Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Let's get the juicy details of what happened, man. First of all, are you okay? Let's start there. Are you good?
What do I get if I'm not okay?
Empathy first and foremost, right? From me, from the audience, definitely that for sure. And also to we want to, I might have some jokes for you depending on how this story goes. So I just want to check in and see where we at with it first,
Honestly, man, and maybe this speaks towards where I am mentally, but I'm very much okay. And what so in the instance? So I'm with myself and two other I guess in this instance, it's important to preface two other African friends. One of them was Algerian, so it looks more Middle Eastern because that's what the people from there look like. And the other one was from Sierra Leone, quite dark like myself. We see just roaming around looking for a place to have some drinks and just hang out as boys Saturday night, nothing hectic. Go see a security guard who is standing in front of the spot that we're trying to get into. So I go up to the guy, hey man, we see a garden area. Is it open? We'd like to go in. Is this how we get in? Yes, that's how you get in. Okay, cool. I wait for the rest of the people in that line to finish up going forward. Even if I'd come before them, I just went to speak to security, but the line is short. Once they're done, I can step in. They finish. I tell the boys, hey man, it's good. This is the place we're looking for. Let's go on in. I give the guy my ID. Now I'm seeing what's happening on the inside. It's a bar situation. You know what I mean? People are eating and drinking. It's cool. And he's got my ID and he flips it once, he flips it twice, he flips it 3 times, he flips it 4 times, he's shining a light on it. When he flips it the 5th time, I'm just like, hey, my man, what's going on with this ID? What's up with this ID? And I was joking around to my friends in the line. I was saying, man, you would think at this age, this face would be enough for people to know that I'm old enough to get into a bar. In fact, I haven't been carded in a very long time.
There's another layer to this right here. And I just want to make sure that the audience knows that as well, too. You know what I'm saying? It's an additional slight when there might be a question about age or your accessibility into the bar when you have a little bit of facial hair. You know what I'm saying? When it's growing proper and you've done a little work on it to shape it up, I see you, bro. I see you, And I know that you was kind of stroking the goatee a little bit at the door like, this guy won't let me in. Does he not? Did you give him a little chin? Did you give him a little, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that he saw it. Because that's official, bro.
Listen, man, you Miles, you know my story, man. I've prayed for this beard, so I was hoping that part of the benefits of having it would be to be able to not get carded in situations, but nevertheless, it's okay.
Flips it once, twice, excessive amounts of times.
He's now flicking it too many times. Now, in my head, it's already clicked what's happening because I know this idea is fine. And the fact that I even have to follow up, right? So I say, hey, man, what's up? He goes, can't let you in. This ID's expired. I said, this ID's expired? I said, okay, let's have a look at it. Stand next to him. I go, he goes, yeah, it's expired. I go, where is it expired? Where is it expired? He's flipping it around. He flips it around and flips it back. And he sees a date, 11 October 2019. And he goes, right there. He said, it's expired. I said, read what it says on top of it, though. It said, issued on. And now I'm getting agitated, right? And I realized at that moment, I'm not agitated because he doesn't want to let me in. I'm agitated that he's trying to draw me into an argument as if I'm trying to get into this place that badly. Like, don't make it seem now that I'm hoping to get in. Don't do that.
That's an awful feeling. It is for sure. I've definitely been out at nights. You go to stand in front of a bar, right? And the bouncer comes out and says, hey, bro, you got to get in line over there. I was just texting, sir. I have no intentions going into your smelly establishment, my guy.
I don't care that much. I really don't care that much. But then he says it's expired. I go, no, bro, it doesn't say expired. It says issued on, which means that's the day they give it to me. And I said, listen, if English is difficult, bring somebody out. We can bring somebody else to explain what expires and issued means. And now I'm getting slightly agitated with it. But at the same time, I see that
that's spicy. Anytime you tell somebody that they might need to involve somebody else in order to get the definition of a word out, it's getting heated.
No, I say it's issued or whatever, and he's still shaking his head. I go, it's fine. Give me my ID back, please. I take my ID. I tap him twice on the chest, sternly. I say, hey, it's cool. Go somewhere else. And
that's the most aggressive, non-aggressive action I've ever. I don't know
this right here,
because that's so. I can picture you doing that, but it's also like that. What is that? That's just frustration. That's just like, I want to put it. You know what that is? That's like when you straighten up somebody's suit jacket. When you put your hands, you just start fixing their lapel. Like, you know what, brother?
definitely on some gangster stuff. Just,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I mean, obviously now because of the people that I'm with, two Africans. When I left that scenario, I didn't care much. I was like, oh, racist dude, fuck it. My money's going to be better spent elsewhere. They didn't feel the same. They were kind of agitated by it. Confused. I was like, gentlemen, look, lately in my life, I asked myself a question. Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? And lately I choose happiness over most things. You know what I feel? So that kind of mellowed out. And it wasn't until like a day later where I thought back, I was like, damn, that actually was that was very, very racist.
Yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you, my dude. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate because when you first getting into the story, you're telling me he's flipping the card and he's shining the light on it. There's a moment at which you start to think in your brain, is he looking for an excuse to not let me in here? And that's where you start having to balance that I think paranoia is a fair word to say without the implication that you're always wrong, right? I feel like people hear paranoia and feel like there's a underlying connotation that you're wrong. But I think we as Black folks have this a paranoia that is often proven correct, that people are discriminating against us, right? And so it's always anxiety inducing, at least for me, whenever that it feels like that clock starts. All right, now I'm in this encounter and it's going left and I don't know why. Like, is it a Black thing? And you're trying not to make it that before it's time or before it's appropriate, but it just sucks, man. It's a lot of extra wasted brain power while you just trying to be out having fun with your homies, man. Sorry that.
Yeah, it is, and like part of the crappy thing about that whole thing, right? And this is part of like the
racism greets way, like like an old long lost acquaintance. Yeah.
Racism, old friend. I remember thee. Still without logic, I see.
Sharp as ever.
Yeah. But like this is the thing about it, right, Miles, is that as a Black man, especially as one who enjoys traveling and one who appreciates keeping an open mind about the people that they encounter with and the spaces that they experience, it is so time consuming. I cannot live life afraid of racist encounters. My uncle, one of my mentors, likes to say, he goes, bro, if you want to travel and be worried about racism, might as well stay home. Might as well stay at home. You know, and that's kind of real. So the balance is right. You're trying to be as open-minded and as allowing for people to be who they are around you, because that's what you're going to be doing. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be me to my fullest extent in the places that I enter, in hopes that, and keep an open mind in hopes that people can receive me that way and feel comfortable enough to be themselves towards me. But as a Black man with tattoos and chains and whatnot, like and that's important to say, because that's self-awareness, right? You have to know who you are going into spaces, but like
awareness,
it's tricky. No, man, but it's tricky though, because you don't want to assume that these things are going to happen, and it sucks when they do happen and they prove themselves right.
Yeah. But I want to commend you as well on just being measured, because having that frustration, it's like, even though you were getting a little spicy with them, talking about if you need somebody else to define expiration and issue date, you know what I mean? You still were very composed in that. And sometimes it's hard to be. Sometimes you want to kind of almost draw a little bit more attention to the situation so that there are other people that can confirm what's happening to you. You know what I mean? So that you don't have to walk away from the situation wondering if you're the only one that would have interpreted it that way. Right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you in that situation, because sometimes it's you never know how you're going to react. I remember being with you in Champaign when we were down at school and we had walked into the mall with two of the homies, right? Two of the white homies, right? Shout out to Will and Jarka, right? So we walking in the mall. Will and Jarka go in probably 10 feet before us, right? I drove, so I'm bloop, bloop, locking up the car. We walking across the parking lot, you know what I'm saying? Just chatting. We're entering the mall through this glasses shop, right? And as Will and Jarka walk in, take a look to the side, some glasses, walk on through. As soon as we walk in,
right for the Oakley aisle.
Big facts, right? Yeah, the snowboarding looking stuffs, right? So We walk
The Teddy
in.
Pendergrasses.
So I'm looking for me some fly stuff. So, but I'm not even really looking. We walk in kind of slow, just looking around, mostly just talking to each other, right? This white lady hops in front of me with a whole iPad, not a phone, a whole iPad, and snaps a picture on my whole face.
I remember no words were exchanged before that happened either. She just came, took a picture of your face.
It said, yeah, this in case you want to try on any glasses, and then walked away.
And then did not do anything with that information.
And then did not offer to show me any glasses. It was at that like, and it happened so fast that I was like, whoa, that was fire racism. Like that was like unexpected. That was like a drive-by of racist energy. It was crazy. And it's just things we have to deal with, man. And I wasn't able to react in that moment, except just to laugh, bro, you know? So
how do we deal with that though? How do we deal with that? Like what is the way to go about moving, understanding the reality of that being a high possibility of encounter, right? Or just a possibility of experiences to encounter, especially as a person of color traversing this earth. What is, because at this age, man, violence is not something that I particularly, that's not an energy I particularly care to exercise for free.
Mm-hmm. That's how old gangsters talk. That's how people who used to be out in the field and have come inside. That's how they talk. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't really want to be involved in any type of situation where anybody's health or person might be at risk anymore. I just don't want to. It's just not my cup of tea. That's how you know. That's, you know, saying some things
with you
and some stuff. But no, I feel you, man. So I think it's hard because there's a like we both just described, there's going to be a lot of situations where you're in that moment and you're just kind of stuck. It's like, dang, do I make a scene? How sure am I that I'm in the right? What's the level to take it to in this scenario? So, and a lot of times the right thing to do and what we end up doing is just having to eat that in the moment, just having to just be like, well, that happened, and try to continue to be buoyant with our mood. But I think some strategies around that is, one, to remember that because a lot of the reason that that's so uncomfortable is because of the uncertainty, right? The plausible deniability of racism. And when you experience it and when you're sure about it, even when you don't feel like you've responded to it appropriately in the moment, if you end up walking off and being like, dang, that was really racist, I should have said something, at least you have that nugget of understanding of being like, that was racist. And I did just experience that. And my experience as a person of color is deeply valid and deeply heavy because of experiences like that. So just, even if you didn't move how you wanted to move, just remembering that I'm not crazy, man. That really just happened to me. And the other flip side of it is that maybe when you're experiencing that, the decision to make on how to act is this a teachable moment? Is there something I can do in this moment of any kind, right? Whether it's escalating, whether it's really getting eloquent about why what the person did is wrong or inappropriate. Like, is there something I can do in this moment that's teachable either for the person who committed this or for me and my homies or whoever happens to be around to see how to deal with racism? That might help you decide how to move. Is this a teachable moment?
But I don't believe in the old, not in the old, but I don't believe in, for instance, if that was the case, me going in there and buying up the bar, talking about, hey man, I can afford to be here. Because you hear of that type of thing happening all the time where, you know, black people go into stores. It happened to Oprah, bro. It happened to Oprah in France, where she went into a particular luxury goods store, try to buy something, and they were told, ma'am, this starts at 10,000, that type of energy. You know, and in many instances, people will be like, then give me 10. Give me 10 so I can show you. But I don't believe that is a victory either, man. I thoroughly believe in being able to take your commerce elsewhere. That would hurt more. Okay, I'll take my dollars elsewhere, man.
Big facts. Big facts. Go to the store across the street. Matter of fact, go to the black-owned store, wherever it may be, and cop from there. Support that business. So not only do you not give the business to the people who ain't do you right, but you're also supporting a business that will that will cater to us in our community first and foremost, without looking at us shady, without following us around the store, without implying that we can't afford what we came in there to buy.